Hello and welcome to a new chapter of Indie Talks. In this chapter, we are going to meet an independent watch brand born in 2004 that has been always characterized by a very distinctive design mark with rectangular shaped cases. Today, we have with us HAUTLENCE that became part of the Mel Group in 2022. Sister brand of H. Moser and C. We welcome Cédric Joos. A pleasure to have you with us, Cédric. Welcome.
Thank you, Alfonso. Very happy to be a part of your podcast or show.
Thank you so much. Let's start with just a short introduction of yourself for our followers and viewers. Who is Cédric Joos? What is your previous experience in the watchmaking sector?
So I was always fascinated about timepieces, especially when my father introduced me to the first timepiece and showing me the difference between quartz and automatic movements. It always fascinated me that a mechanical movement is ticking multiple times in a second and gives that smooth motion. And after I made the greatest decision to change industry, actually around 8 years ago, I changed to the watch industry. Fascinated by timepieces, I just wanted to make my hobby my job. So I changed to Bucher. Started very much at the bottom as a sales agent in the store and e-com, and worked in Lucerne and worked my way up. After 3 years, I was lucky to change to Moser, where my independent watchmaking story started as well. It opened my eyes because I thought I knew already a lot about watches, but starting at Moser, it introduced me properly to watchmaking. And after 3 years, I received the chance to take over the brand. It's a great chance. It's a lovely brand with a lot of enthusiastic projects for the future, and very looking forward to shape that brand with our team in Schaffhausen.
Because you have just quite recently been appointed as a brand manager, right?
Exactly. So basically, I started in February. It was not officially communicated, but I was half-half because I still had my errands at Moser. I was uh, managing all the direct sales for Moser, and we have a lot of important customers where we build beautiful relationships over the years. So I wanted to make a proper handover. It's still in process, so it's something we're taking and care seriously on, and don't want to hand it over too quickly and make a proper handover.
Okay, great. Cédric, do you remember your first watch as a kid?
Yeah, it was a Swatch, and it was and actually in Gran Canaria, where my
What?
father and one of my best friends at the time received our first Swatches. And we were so happy because we felt like adults, small little adults walking around. And mine was a chronograph, but I was very upset because I fall on the ground and I broke the glass in the first week owning it. Obviously, there are other watches that marked my life, especially the one of my grandfather, which I never met, but I received this timepiece, which is one of the first Omega chronographs. So I'm very happy to own that.
Okay, great. Can you tell us something about the origins and history of HAUTLENCE as a brand? What the curious history behind the name HAUTLENCE and why the name and the logo?
So I think it's very important to put in picture Guillaume. Guillaume Tetu was the founder, co-founder of HAUTLENCE, and it's a brand which was born in Neuchâtel, and that's the reason why the name has all the letters of Neuchâtel, so it's an anagram. And I think one aspect which is as well interesting is that most of the suppliers were in Neuchâtel. It was a very romantic way of producing watches, and in that time, in 2000, conventional watchmaking was at its peak, and unconventional watchmaking was coming step by step up, like with the Opus from Harry Winston. Then you had MBNF, you had Uhrwerk starting to appear, and HAUTLENCE. So we were trying to push unconventional watchmaking, and where we specialized is definitely on retrograde functions and indications, our indications that are different and very individual. And when I spoke to Guillaume, and I think that's a very key hallmark of the brand, is I was as well looking for what is your timepiece that changed your life to go to this industry. And he just told me that he was fascinated about the mechanism. So the first watch he received, he dismantled it and just looked at the movement. So I felt like, yeah, that's the DNA of the brand. It's very mechanic. It's very brutalistic, and it's pushing in that direction. And we're trying now next year to come up with a new complication that even our suppliers need to create new components that they never created and never tested before. So that's the direction we want to go, and that's the future of the brand as well.
Okay, great. And why the logo?
The logo is eternity bow, which is eternity is in many culture a good luck sign. It has an 8 integrated and as well a 2 if you look closely. And that's the reason why all our pieces are limited to 28 pieces. And it makes it obviously very small production if every piece is limited up to 28. But that's the beauty of our brand. It's unique, it's individual, and gives a lot to the owner.
I can share with you, this is the maybe history of the brand, because as you know, when I had the shop here in Madrid of independent brands, we had HAUTLENCE, and this is the HL06, that it has the jumping hours and retrograde minutes.
That's a beautiful piece. And I think the future will, I think to recreate why we are doing this today is very important. And I think there's a lot of amazing pieces in the past that we can reinterpret in a modern way today. And we're looking at those options.
Okay. For our viewers and listeners that are not aware of the brand, and they don't know the history of the brand, what do you consider is the DNA of HAUTLENCE?
So the DNA is that after 60 minutes, something is happening. I think the piece that I'm wearing shows that the most. It's the sphere. So you have that beautiful function, which is very unique. We won an award a year ago, or over a year ago. It's basically to play with retrograde functions, and that something happens. Afterwards, obviously, we have the vagabond, where there's no hands. So we are not very looking towards watches that have like the hour, minute, and second indicator with hands. So we are trying to take them away and make it as difficult for us as possible and as impressive. Most of the time when a client looks at our watch, he says, "How do I read time?" And then we explain it, and then we see the smile of that person appearing. And we're trying to challenge that conventional way of doing watchmaking, and it can. To be fair, it's for the future. It will be a challenge to overcome and always produce new complication and be innovative. So we're trying to be very innovative on that point. And on the other hand, we do all our movements in-house because we're on the one roof with Moser. So that helps us to create synergies. And as you know, Moser does their own escapements, so we do our own escapements too because we're part of that group.
Considering that you are part of the group, and do you share any kind of research and development with Moser?
Yeah, of course. So maybe on Moser's side, you always think because we are a smaller brand, we only benefit from Moser. I think it goes both ways. So on function-wise, maybe you can record the Endeavor flying hours, which was the Vagabond movement introduced in a beautiful Endeavor case. A lovely piece because I love the clash of classical case with futuristic movements, and it worked very well. On that part, we helped Moser. And then on the other hand, HAUTLENCE gets helped out by using the infrastructure. So the teams that work on Moser work on HAUTLENCE. So we have around 30% to 20% the people who are working for Moser that work on our projects. And on the movements parts, it helped us to shift the price point. So previously, we were between 80 to 220,000 Swiss francs, which is usual for such a brand in that small scale. And today we are between 30,000 to 80,000, which helps us to be attractive. And that's only possible because we use the base movements, we restructure them, obviously, for our need, but it helps us to keep the production cost of our movements very low because as you know, H. Moser and CA produce around 4,000 watches a year, and that helps us out at the end with our 200.
How are you able to balance the traditional Swiss watchmaking craftsmanship with this kind of avant-garde design?
That's a very good question. It's challenging. As you can expect, we cannot reinvent the wheel. We're trying to be as efficient as well as possible, because if you go in a new direction, the movement gets very quickly super expensive. On the Swiss watchmaking, we respect the art of making, so we don't over decorate the bridges, but there's a anglage and a finissage that is needed for such a high-end piece. And we celebrate it by assembling everything manually. So if you look at our pieces, you think first it's not real, especially the sphere. But afterwards, how we put it together, it's very futuristic, obviously, when you look at it. But the handling and how we assemble it, it's all done by hand, like the art of watchmaking. And the components, most of them are done by machine. On a new piece that we are going to release soon, end of May, I think you saw it, Alfonso, the bridge will be hand polished, hand finished, but of the tourbillon. Already a little sneak peek what it could be. And we try as much as possible on the watchmaking to make as much hand and handiwork, the hand craftsmanship. I think it's very important in today's world, especially in which direction we are going with the digital. More and more AI is taking over, so handcrafted objects have more and more value, in my opinion.
You have been talking about the total production of H. Moser, but what's your total production for HAUTLENCE?
So we are aiming for 200.
200.
So if you look, we only per model have a limitation of 28 right now. So that means we need to go around 7 to 9 releases, depending what is the limitation. We have as well the talking pieces, which are the retrovision, which are even more limited, so between 8 to 10. And it shows the value of the brand, because we put so much effort in the research and developing them, and at the end you only produce 200 pieces a year, and each model is only 28. So I think our clients feel that and see the value in that.
You have said that all the calibers are in-house. Do you share the production of the calibers with H. Moser? And at the beginning, all the watches were manual. Now, mostly are automatic, right?
Exactly. So in 2022, when Samuel took over, the idea was to create that synergy and make the price point more attractive to the end consumer. So we made the decision to make the case bigger with the beautiful integrated bracelet, and introduced the first Vagabond, which was the Series 4, with the automatic module, which we know, the 200 from Moser, which was refinished on HAUTLENCE base. That allows us to make the entry level of HAUTLENCE much more attractive, which was 30,000. Today, we developing this. So that means that we have on the sphere base, we have it's not an automatic movement; it's a hind wind, manual wind movement. And then most of our movements right now are with a rotor, so automatic.
Can you tell us a little bit about the 3 novelties that you have just released at Watches and Wonders, and maybe how many pieces are you going to release throughout the rest of the year? If you are planning to release, you have said that you are going to release one more. Are you planning to release more pieces?
Yeah, of course. So on the releases, first the releases that we just introduced. So the first was the linear red. Linear is a function that we developed with the help of our friends at Agenor. We are as well looking into a bright future with them, developing new functions. A young team, very dynamic. And we chose the color red. Red is a very daring color. In many cultures has different significance. We decided to go with Italy. As you know, there are cars that have the color red, and we came to the idea. We always question that why. So why does car brands use red? And then
it's also a very Spanish color, huh?
yes, exactly. It's in multiple cultures. It has a significance. In the Chinese culture, it's good luck. I remember I had a golf coach who told me Liverpool only wins when they have the red color on in the final of the Champions League. So there's a powerful meaning. There's a winning mentality behind red. We chose the way to tell it with the Italian culture due to racing. So red was the color for the Italian drivers, so you could spot them on the racetrack, like racing green for the English and silver for the Germans, and blue, obviously Alpine, for the French. And so we went down that rabbit hole and tried to give a little bit of soul to the watch, because it's a beautiful piece. I think it indicates very beautifully time. Tourbillon is more the indicator for the seconds. Obviously, you cannot read it, but you see a tick, and it shows you the seconds, how quickly a second or how smoothly a second passes. And then you have the minute indicator, which is a beautiful circle. Could seem as a tachymeter of a car or an indicator of a car. And then you have like a little bit gear shifting, those gears going down, the linear indicator, which are the hours. And what I love about retrograde is you cannot go back. So it's like in real life, you can only go forward. And I think this watch shows you that, especially that think forward. Live the moment and go forward. The past is done, and just go. You need to go forward. And then we had the retrovision. So this is a very, there we have a lot of fun. I think independent watchmaking is what brings us to independent watchmaking, is that we are having fun. We are totally different what mainstream brands are doing. And with the retrovision, there's no limit. Retro obviously mentions it in the collection. So the idea was to bring objects from the past into timepieces. And the first one was the radio watch, which was introduced last year. And it was not intended to be sold. So it was just a talking piece, because we are a young brand. So how do we want to make brand awareness at a Watches and Wonders where all the big brands are having like the media attention? So we thought, let's do a talking piece. And the radio was developed in a seminar. So we have every year a sales seminar where all groups of all the sales employee marketing from around the world are meeting in Switzerland. And we were brainstorming, what could it be? And one group had the crazy idea to say, hey, let's take an old radio from the 40s and cover the tourbillon. Covering a tourbillon is absurd because the beautiness is to see it. And a tourbillon, I don't know if you experienced it, but a tourbillon can be very loud. So the speaker is the tourbillon. So it's covered, and it's a watch that got so much attention that we thought, okay, it would be a shame if we don't sell it and offer it to our customers. And after that, so we have now the challenge that the retrovision every year we need to bring one out, a talking piece. And this year we did a very good job. We got inspired by a Japanese toy watch.
Mm-hmm.
So that toy watch at the time, when you were the owner of it, you can just deploy the case and deform it and make a robot out of it. And we did that in a high watchmaking scale. And it got a lot of attention. Only through our social media channel, we got 1.2 million views, which is unbelievable for a young watch brand like us. And yeah, everyone was speaking about it. A lot of people loved it because it brought nostalgia back from the past. We had a lot of Moser customers writing us as well and saying, Cédric, this is the watch who brought me to watch collecting as a youngster. So it was very, very lovely to see the response of the watch community and how much they love the idea to bring something back. And the future is bright. We're trying to innovate the retrovision next year. There's already a watch planned. The future years, we still need to develop some ideas. So if you have objects from the past that you love, that you think it would be cool to make a watch out of it, be very interested in ideas. And on the other perspective of this year, what you can attend is first end of May, beginning of June, that we will release a new complication that maybe as well from Moser's side. What I can already sneak peek, it's going to be a small case size. Then we have a release plan for Geneva Watch Days, as well, exciting. And then end of the year, we have as well something exciting for our collectors. So there's some couple of releases coming up still.
Okay, great. Cédric, do you think that you have replaced H. Moser as the bad boys of watchmaking? Because do you remember some years ago, every Watches and Wonders, there was an special, the cheese watch, the seed watch, the Franken watch. Now it's like you have replaced them, and now you have two releases these last 2 years. Is on purpose?
Yeah, I think we're having the biggest aspect is we're having fun as well. Moser is having fun. This year we had
maybe Ed is getting old and is more serious now.
But to be totally fair, he was majorly the big part of that retrovision, the latest retrovision. So he still loves to challenge boundaries. Obviously, if you come to visit us at Moser, you will realize our age. Most of our employees are very young. So the people who are working on the project, HAUTLENCE, I think we have an average age of 28. So that shows as well. I think this is something that you see when you look at the brand, that we are very young and have a little bit that startup feeling. It's true, we are daring, but always with the aspect of being respectful, but we're having a lot of fun. And I think that you feel with the latest releases, and especially the next one that you will see, we're trying to push those boundaries. And yeah, bad boys, we love to have fun as well, going out and meeting our clients and have a genuine time. We don't put a mask on.
No, it's something that I recommend to visit you, because it's amazing to see your watches and also H. Moser and also to visit the village, because there are the biggest waterfalls in Europe. And
Exactly,
you see the history of Heinrich Moser and how he developed the area and to build the history of watchmaking, because he helped IWC to start doing business there.
Yeah, I think the backstory of the brand is major, and what is as well something that helped the brand develop its own DNA right now was that there was not such a huge heritage on the watch design. So we were able to create our own identity for Moser. And the same with HAUTLENCE. We started in 2004. So we didn't have the pressure to have a huge heritage that followed us. We're just able to create new stuff. And sometimes we make mistakes. That's okay. And sometimes we succeed. And I think with the two brands, you feel that we are not scared to fail.
You have been talking about Guillaume Tedu. He was the founder of the brand. Now you are having him back as a chairman and advisor. What does it mean for a company as HAUTLENCE?
It's very good, especially for me. Just to put it in the frame, we have now a steering committee, so that means I'm not all by myself, and this is very helpful. So we meet twice a month, where Guillaume is as well joining. And it's on production side, development side, how market work, what is the back history, especially like when clients inquire. It's so helpful to have Guillaume's knowledge and saying, hey, this and this is this watch, or ideas development. We just recently had a conversation with Guillaume where he was helping me developing a dial idea. So to have him in the team is very precious and gives me as well the security to go to the next steps. And he tells me, I say it in his words, it's not my words, I'm the old man, you push the brand forward. But if you need my help, I'm here, and I will give you the advices. Because when I speak to him, first of all, he's a great man. He's very friendly. He's very genuine. Probably one of the loveliest people that I met in the watch industry. And he generally loves to create movements. You feel that. And I don't know if many people know that, but he's very great in drawing. He's very fast as well. So he does beautiful sketches. And I love that someone that long in the industry still has that passion. So when we went to Neuchâtel to visit him, him seeing this enthusiastic, like already having new ideas, what we could do with HAUTLENCE, is just memorizing. We're very lucky to have him part of the team and back with HAUTLENCE. So looking forward to work in the future with him as well.
Cédric, what are the most important markets for you? And another question, as I told you, and you know it, I had a shop from 2004 till 2009 devoted to independent brands, and we had at that time HAUTLENCE, and we have a close relation with Guillaume. Is the Spanish market interesting for you? Are you planning someday to come back to Spain?
We're very open to rejoin markets that we were. With the new case size, it allowed us to open up markets again. I think the future can be bright, but we need to focus on our main retailers, because we don't want that issue that we are in too many retailers and they just have 2 or 3 pieces. So we need to focus on the key players that allow us to grow. And step by step, I think we can reopen. And afterwards, it's the personal and human touch. So if we believe in a retail that opens up doors, we definitely will bring our brand to that market. Right now, the most important market is definitely Asia. We are trying to now go into Mexico as well. So there are different markets that we are now focusing as well. Japan is opening up, and we have a lot of work still to do in Europe with Bucher. I think one of the key markets as well in the past was Asia, Southeast Asia. Yeah.
And then how do you see the future of HAUTLENCE in terms of challenges and brand direction? How do you see the future?
It's like a little bit like Moser. Moser challenged themselves to make like beautiful timepieces, super minimalistic. So where can you bring it? It's every year a challenge. When I speak to Nicholas, our director of sales, he always says, this is going to be tough to overtop the last year. What can we bring out this year? And then the next year we're even better. And from HAUTLENCE, it's very the point of view of innovation. So it's a challenge. And as well, using materials that are maybe different. So we need to be creative. That's a strong word. And as well, you cannot reinvent the wheel again, but trying to push how to tell time. I think for next year we have a big piece coming. Hopefully it will be launched because we're still fighting with that component which no supplier ever produced, and we have one supplier who say maybe it works, and that's the challenge of the brand. The future, we try to be very different than the other brands.
Is it true that it should be quite helpful not to be that Agenor is part also of the mainland group, right?
Exactly. So I think
In
it's
terms of
already
calibers, I mean.
yeah, it's like 2 years ago where we made the beautiful step to be co-owners of Agenor. And it's a very important move for both brands. So especially in complications, their knowledge and as well the enthusiast. They love watches too. So and especially beautiful timepieces. So we are working on interesting concepts. We challenging them as well because we say, yeah, we need more on that point. And we actually meeting next week the Wiederet brothers in Geneva with Guillaume to brainstorm around a nice glass of wine what could be the next complication for the brand, because ideas come by meeting people, by connecting dots, and all of a sudden there's this idea popping up and we have a new complication. So it's going to be exciting to work with them a little bit closer.
Okay. You are known and you have been known for the rectangular shaped cases, but you have released also round watches. Are you planning in the future also to release again round watches, or is not in your mind?
So exactly round is not the idea. I think there are a lot of shapes. I think what we are right now doing is a lot of research. What kind of shapes already existed? There's obviously the tonneau shape that is interesting, but was used from multiple brands. And right now we are looking at creating something for 2027. We are building sketches, drawing sketches of watches that are not rectangular. Because it's true that if you have a collector starting with HAUTLENCE, he takes 2 or 3 pieces, and then afterwards we need to bring in some more varieties. And we're on good terms to say that 2027 or 2028, we have a new case shape.
Okay,
next
great.
to the rectangular one.
Cédric, how do you see the market? Sales are going down. How can you attract new generation into watchmaking? Because I think it's something quite difficult and that some brands are not doing. It's very important to bring new blood into watchmaking, no?
I totally agree. I think maybe take an example of friends of the brand, Richard from Studio Underdog. I love the way how they communicate.
Yeah.
It's very refreshing. I think a lot of the older brands have that strict frame that they need to work in, and that's maybe one of the main reasons why they attract less of the younger generation. And I think there the independents or younger brands like Baltic Watches or Full and Marie very touch that generation, because first they are affordable. This is very important, I think, as well, because when you speak about an HAUTLENCE, there's just a certain category of clients that can afford this. So I think it's less younger people. So I think they do a great work, those younger brands, especially that they have an average age as well, which is young, and they speak in a different way and communicate in a different way, which attracts this young generation to come back to watchmaking. And I think what changed as well is due to social media and due to the internet, and as well you, Alfonso, or other important people from the watch industry can communicate their knowledge through a media platform, allows them to have a young generation which is very knowledgeable. I think they know a lot about watches, and I think there's a bright future. Especially our clients do a great work with their children. They bring them in a very early age into watches, and as we know, and as Jean-Claude Bieber always said, a watch, a mechanical watch, is not a technology. It's something that overcomes generation, and you can fix it in 100 years as you can fix it in 200 years. So it will always be something that will be part. And I think as well something interesting to see today is our customer who work in the tech industry, which is very advanced. They love mechanical pieces because that brings them back to earth themselves. They see something ticking, they see something mechanical, and in a digital world like today, I think we're going on certain industry, we're going backwards.
For you, as an independent, quite niche brand, small, what are the pros and the cons of being independent? For me, it's one that it's clear that you are much closer to the final client, right?
Yes, of course. I fully agree. I think that's one of the biggest point as well is how close we are to the end consumer. Especially over social media, that's a strategy we're following now since 2 months, is very much responding to every comment and every direct message and be close to our community. After what I think as well is we're like, I think Nicholas always put that in a very nice way. We're like a speedboat. So that means like we can very quickly act. So if we have an idea, it doesn't need to go over several levels of board members. It just, let's do it. Let's try that out. And then we have a quick outcome where other brands need to wait 3 to 2 years that a campaign appears. We can do it in a month. So that allows us to act fast and have quick ideas that are actually genuine to what is happening in the world. So as well, if you think about on Moser's side with the Genesis, it was right in the time where crypto was coming up and during COVID, and we wanted to make an interpretation. And that's the lovely thing about independence, is that we can act fast and create objects that are out of the box and out of the norm.
And the bad things, maybe the budgets.
Bad things is probably having product costs that are much higher, because as you know, as bigger as you go, how lower the prices of components go, especially straps, little details like dowels, casing, as well. As a young brand, if you say, okay, we want to build 200 watches, you cannot plan so far ahead because it blocks your cash flow. So these are probably more on the financial basis issues that we have. But I love that as well because it makes you creative. I think when you have the water here is when you start to think about how can we use that budget differently, and then you cut that budget and you have new ideas that are coming up, which save and are actually great and bring the brand forward. And I think it's a nice challenge. But obviously that's as well a pain of brands, and it's like you hate it or you love it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Then my last question is that is a question that I do to all my interviewees, is that if you were not wearing out of lens, which brand and model would you wear?
Mm-hmm. Very, very tough question because I love watches, especially vintage watches. So not new
Mm-hmm.
watches. Even that I love new watches, but um, right now I'm varying often when I don't wear HAUTLENCE, I wear my grandfather's watch, especially due to this connection. But I just recently bought for entering the watch company a very out of the norm Omega 120 Seamaster with a quartz movement, and
Mm-hmm.
it has an integrated bracelet. It's at the time when watchmaking was doubting themselves because obviously they didn't see the future in mechanical watches, so they tried to make like crazy looking timepieces. And I found it from a good friend whose name is Jojo Lamontre, Joël, who was offering it, and I thought it was the right moment to buy it because I was changing from Moser to HAUTLENCE. So that's a piece that I wear gets a lot of wrist time recently
Mm-hmm.
on the
Great,
weekends.
great. Then, thank you, Cédric Joos, brand manager of HAUTLENCE. It has been a pleasure to have you with us here at Indie Talks of Doble Firma. Good luck. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Alfonso. Hope to see you soon too.
Okay.